Cheers, big ears. Oh, I'm ready. Hey, Love on the Spectrum, Season 2 launched in Oz, and I've been working my way through all of the episodes of Season 2, giving my honest autistic opinion. So, on this video, let's talk about Love on the Spectrum, Season 2, Episode 4. Hey, I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. Yes, so that means I'm autistic. And since my diagnosis later in life, I have devoted my time to advocating for autistic people to hopefully raise the level of understanding and acceptance of autistic people right across the world. So I do that in a few ways: my blogs, my podcasts, and these YouTube videos, which you will find on my website, orionkelly.com.au. Go to my website and you'll find everything I do, all the content, plus you can reach out and say, hey, orionkelly.com.au. Now, if learning about autism and helping me raise a level of understanding and acceptance of autistic people is something you'd be interested in, well, thank you so much. I'd love you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. For starters, as always, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos, share my videos, and subscribe to my channel. So welcome back to all the subscribers. I really do appreciate you and your support. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click that subscribe button and ring the notifications bell so you never miss another episode and you help autistic people right across the planet. You're also most welcome to reach out to me on my socials. You can follow the Orion Kelly page on Facebook. A great opportunity not only to connect with me, but to get access to all the content that I'm making on all the platforms. I tend to post them all on the Facebook page. So follow that page. You can check me out on Instagram. Yep, I'm on Instagram and I've got nothing to say. What a salesman. Yeah, I've been working on it. I'm also on Twitter, so you can check out my tweets on Twitter. I tend to put lots of links, lots of cool things, not just about what I do on Twitter, so check out my Twitter page. And I'm on TikTok to see all the weird, quirky, odd videos that I make. Another great example of some of my stuff really well. Either way, I'd love you to reach out to my socials and say hey and join the community. And go! Season 2, Love on the Spectrum, and my autistic opinion on episode 4, which begins with Mark calling Sienna post their initial date in previous episodes. So Mark, the dinosaur guy, which I don't think has ever featured in Love on the Spectrum without a dinosaur in shot. A bit like Seinfeld and Superman. I'm a Seinfeld fan. There was always a Superman figurine in every episode of Seinfeld. You just got to spot it. I guess Mark's like the dinosaur guy. So that's cool. An irrelevant story. Anyway, a couple of reactions to not only Mark calling dates to give them feelings, but I guess everyone on the show. I'm an autistic person and there's nothing I hate more probably than receiving phone calls or making phone calls. I can't exactly tell you why. I'm assuming it's got something to do with social anxiety. I don't actually know, but I love emails and I love texts because I can communicate in a way that's comfortable for me in my own time. Maybe it's a processing thing as well, okay? I can process it. I can go through all the stages of panic and anger or fear or whatever, and then I can respond. But it's amazing. On this show, it's like every autistic person on this show is just happy to sit down with a camera crew, get their phone out and make a personal phone call. And for the most part on this show, it's two things. One, it's asking them out again, or two, it's dumping them, right? In a nice way, telling them, hey, I know we've spent one date of almost an hour together, that I've already realized I don't like you. And I know. I mean, when you know, you know. So, if anything I can tell you about dating, if you say with someone for one date for maybe an hour or so and you don't already know if they're the one, then you're an idiot. No, that's not true. Are the producers expecting the autistic people on this show to always make on-camera speakerphone calls to other people and give them good or bad news for the entertainment of the mostly neurotypical masses? Or are the autistic people freely asking to do it? Maybe they are. That's cool. I certainly wouldn't be. Like, for example, there's a show that I watch from time to time that's kind of cool. It's like $1 Million Listings or whatever. Have you seen that show where it's like a real estate show? They do $1 million deals, tens of millions of dollar deals with people by text. Hey, buyer says, no, they want 15. Oh, how about we offer 13? Oh, tell them we'll take 14 and a half. How about 14? 14, 2. Deal. Now, I don't know what phone goes boom, but do you see what I'm saying? That's a multi-million-dollar transaction happening via text. But Mark has to call Sienna, who they've hung out with for what, an hour? I don't know, not very long, and dump her on national TV with her on a speakerphone. My point is there not a better way to do this? For example, okay, let's say text or email is not cool. How about we get them together again to have an actual conversation? Why is only one person on screen? I don't get this. So what? The dude's on the screen, but the chick can't be? What, she's not important enough? Like, do you know what? It's bizarre. It kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel very uncomfortable watching a guy basically dump a girl on international TV on speakerphone. And what's even odder to me is that almost every time the reaction the autistic people, mostly autistic men, make after they've done this, actually, no, Teo did it too, is like a relief. Almost like I'd be vomiting in the toilet. I mean, like, I'd be probably shaking. They shouldn't, they have this experience, then it's like, oh, that was cool, no worries. Yeah, hey, this dating stuff's easy. I mean, I think Teo was the only one that got kind of emotional. So I'm very confused by this. Yeah, maybe I'm just a little bit sensitive. Hey, how you going? Look, I don't think it's going to work out. Maybe we should just be friends. Good? Okay, bye. Hang up. Well, that went well. She definitely understood. She agreed and understood where I was coming from. And I could tell that from her going, yeah, okay, bye. And if you've watched any of my past reviews on episodes, I have been banging on a bit about the family interaction. As I say every time, this is not about the family. I'm not reviewing the family. The family are loving, supporting members of an autistic person's life. Without my family, I'm stuffed. I'm not saying, what I'm saying is the editing and the producing of the show. Here's an example. So Mark has made that phone call to Sienna. He's basically said that he just wants to be friends, okay? Which is strange because, you know, like an episode ago, he's saying he's desperate. He thinks he's getting too old, desperate for love, desperate to settle down, and then like, but it sounds like he's, I don't know, he's pickier than Seinfeld. Another Seinfeld reference, this is ridiculous. Anyway, he's picky. Well, are you picky, Mark, or do you want someone who wants to potentially love you? You've got to give it time, mate. Anyway, that's cool. So that finishes, and then the next scene is him walking into the lounge room. The mum and dad are sitting on the couch. Honestly, they look like they're about to go on a game show. They look like they're in full makeup, presented beautifully, sitting on the couch, awaiting their son to come in, and they will give him the neurotypical ruling on the call. Hi, Mum and Dad. I know I'm 30, a grown man, but hi, Mum and Dad. I made a call to a girl, and I told her, and I told her I just want to be friends. And now we, the world, would like to hear what you think. Again, not about the parents. They're just trying to be supportive and loving. But it's an autistic dating show about autistic adults. I don't really give a crap what the parents think. In episode 4, season 2, Love on the Spectrum, we meet a couple from season 1, Jimmy and Shanae. Now in season 2, we find Jimmy and Shanae engaged, mostly thanks to the amazing deduction and detective work of the producer off camera, asking them, so you're engaged? Okay, so does that mean you're getting married? Are you asking this question to them because you think they're idiots? Or are you asking this question to them because you want to make them look like idiots, to test them if they know what being engaged is? Or are you asking this question because you're an idiot? Either way, there's just idiots everywhere. I don't get this. Seriously, they're two adults who are engaged, which means they're going to get married. Can we move on? So the Jimmy and Shanae story in episode 4 is they're preparing to travel to Las Vegas because Jimmy, who loves his pool, is competing in, I don't know, a tournament. I mean, he says what it's called and you can watch it. And I don't think that's important to anyone, what it's called, but it's a pool competition in Vegas. And not a pool where you jump in and you swim, with the sticks and the balls and I don't know what corner pocket, yellow, red, 2765, corner pocket, right. Now, there's a couple of really important things I want to talk about. I mean, I'm being serious. Okay, so I actually have to be serious now. Serious time. Do I look serious to you? So, all right. Okay, so there's a scene where Shanae and her mum are at home packing for the Vegas trip. Now, there's a couple of things that are said in this scene. The first thing, and I've mentioned this in previous things, using past stories of autistic people, which are clearly funny to neurotypical people because they're so different to most neurotypical kids, I think is exploitative and it's patronizing and it's unhelpful. Okay, I've said that before. I don't mind if an autistic person wants to share a story of something from their childhood they think's funny or amusing or relatable and that they openly want to share it. That's cool. And if your parent brings something up and that triggers a memory and then you share it, cool. But as a parent, you don't have the right to just blurt out to friends and family, let alone international TV, a funny childhood story of your autistic child, now an adult, just because you think you can or because you're their parent. Well, you don't. They're adults. That's a consent thing, okay? And again, they might want to share it too, but a lot of times the stories, I think the autistic people look uncomfortable. So the mum brings up something about, oh yeah, you used to think as soon as you get off the plane in America, you'll meet Justin Bieber. Like he'll be, and she's like, what? Oh, you mean when I was a kid? Like automatically that tells me, that's not really what I think anymore. And it's kind of embarrassing you're bringing up this childhood thing. Oh, you remember? Yeah, like he'd just be right there waiting for you. You and Justin Bieber when you get off the plane. I mean, it's like that. And parents out there of autistic people are probably going to think, well, stuff you. It's my kid and they're funny and I want to share the funny stories. Well, it's funny to you and it's funny to neurotypical people, but it's very similar to what I've said about all the characters. Are they funny to the people watching for the same reasons they're rejected by the real world? The personality that rejects us in the real world when we're actually in your space is the same personality that you love to watch because it's on the TV screen. And the other point I want to make about the interaction with the mum, Jimmy, Shanae getting ready to travel overseas is they talk about how Shanae kind of mentioned something like, I could never have done this. She's never been out of the country before. I could never have done this without the support of my mum. Now, this is really important, okay? And I'll tell you why. There's a neurotypical or medical model sense that independence or being independent means that you do everything or can do everything by yourself, alone, without any support assistance. Now to that I say rubbish, bull crap, okay? If you're autistic, you have individual challenges, strengths, and different levels of care and support needs. I have daily support needs. They might not be near the same as another person who's autistic. They might be more, less, but they're all different. We all have them as per being autistic. But for her mum's support to go with her, to provide her that daily support or assistance, that daily care, that daily encouragement, whatever she requires from her mum, but for her mum going, she could not have gone. And then as a engaged couple, they could not have had that experience to the point where they may do that alone in the future. So the point I'm making here is I just want this whole to be independent. You have to do everything by yourself, everything alone without assistance. I want it gone. It's rubbish. It's actual rubbish. For autistic people, independence means many different things, okay? If we are on some sort of spectrum, not linear, on some sort of spectrum where everyone has different support and care needs, clearly the level of independence we can reach is different, but it's still independence, okay? To be engaged, to get married, that is a level of independence. The fact that you are engaged to get married but still require the support of your mum to travel overseas doesn't mean you're not independent, right? So I'm really passionate about this. We can't just wipe the slate of anyone who can't do everything by themselves or without assistance. Independence is a spectrum as well. There's also a thing in the packing scene where Shanae's mum brings out a sunflower lanyard. Actually, I've got one. Let me get it for you. Holy crap, that's tangled. How am I supposed to untangle that? You can do it. Hey, yeah. Okay, so her mum brings out this and like puts it on her neck. I think she says something like, that's in case you get lost, I'll put your name on it. Because, as you know, Shanae's a pet. Shanae talks about how, oh yeah, these are great. These are the people who are autistic. That's not true. That's not true. Hidden disability sunflower lanyards are for anyone who has any form of hidden disability. You could get this for a parent or grandparent who has dementia, right? Because that's a hidden disability. They may become confused, right? They may become lost. I mean, this helps, right? So this isn't just for autistic people, it's for people with hidden disabilities. Clearly, autistic people use these and they're great. The other thing that's mentioned is, you can go through an airport and all the airport staff are trained and they help you. And again, I'm not calling Shanae or her family wrong or liars. I'm saying I wish that was the case. It's just not true. Sure, there are some airports that have had training and have actually proactively taken this on to help people with hidden disabilities. But for the most part, I mean, I've worn these through airports and I don't think a single person has looked at me and it hasn't changed any of my interactions. Possibly they look at me and just go, what's the dude wearing, a green thing around his neck for? Like, is he going to a flower show? Like, hey, VIP here. Get me through to the flowers, please. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Michael Show. And for those playing at home, the Michael Show is a separate show within the show Love on the Spectrum. Okay, now, the Michael Show within episode 4, season 2 of Love on the Spectrum kicks off with an editorial, because what happens is now every episode incorporates Michael doing his AM talk radio editorial where, like for example, I think this time he does an editorial about marriage, something about, I don't know, it's a spiritual thing or it shouldn't be taken for granted. People do though, and it's very important. I mean, good on you, Michael. I appreciate it. I would class those, like I do them, as autistic rants. I do those all the time. You get up on your kind of high horse, your soapbox, and I've done that all my life. That's an autistic thing. So there's no issues with Michael doing them. It's the fact they're on the show. The producers not only, I guess, trigger them, ask them, engage for them, they record them, edit them, and broadcast them. So anyway, there's this weird talkback show he does now. And then on episode 4, we watch Michael drive to Heather's house, where her parents and Heather live, for the Meet the Family thing. Okay, now what's really interesting about this, and I think positive, is this is in my opinion, I think this is the first episode in all seasons of Love on the Spectrum we've seen an autistic person driving. I could be wrong, but what I'm saying this for is, yeah, I drive. I don't especially like it. I might not be especially great at it, but the point is, I drive. I can drive. And it really upsets me when I hear younger autistic people write themselves off. Oh, I'll never be able to drive. I can't drive. Well, to that I say rubbish. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay? Some might not want to, and that's a choice. But don't tell me you can't. There's a difference between I don't want to and I cannot. Yes, you can. Here is autistic people watching at home going, wow, there's an autistic person. He's a grown adult, he has a job, and he drives. So that's something to make autistic people think, wow, cool. So on this episode of The Michael Show, Michael meets the parents. He goes to Heather's house, meets Heather, and I think her sister and her sister's partner, I think. He also meets Heather's parents, Bill and Helen. Now, by the way, apologies to Heather and Helen. I think from time to time I'm going to call Heather Helen and Helen Heather. And now I've just, both words make no sense to me in my head. Oh my goodness. Don't forget, I am born in Wollongong, so I'm also from the hood. And I don't know if that's a word you can use down there. So they're talking at the table. You've got Bill, Helen, Michael, Heather, the sister, and the partner, okay? Total respect to the sister and the partner. Love you guys, you're great, but let's just rule you out, okay? You're just, I don't want to call you irrelevant, but you guys are just irrelevant. Hang on, I said I wasn't going to call them. Oh, hang on, not irrelevant, because he says something. Bring him back in, bring him back in. Actually, you leave the sister away and bring the guy back in, yeah. So the dude, the partner of the sister, let's just call him Irrelevant A, he says, you going to do any traveling or whatever when the whole world opens up? I think Michael says he wants to go to Germany or whatever. I mean, anyway, that's cool. Michael's got a fascination with, I guess, Europe, and that's cool, man. Do it, my friend. Do it. You'll get out there and don't worry. And then the mum, Helen, says something about she'd love to do a cruise again. Now, the reaction from Michael is pricelessly autistic. It's an overreaction. It's a fully fledged, zero censored, no softening, just pure, huh? Did you say a cruise? What are you, nuts? He's thinking, do you remember what happened? Those massive, huge cruise ships with hundreds of people? What did they all die? Are you, what? You want to go on a cruise? This is what he's saying through his eyes. But then I thought, hang on, does Helen mean like those river cruises? You know, like those smaller, you know, more expansive, kind of have your own room, you know, river cruises, you know, like I call them the la-di-da cruises. By the way, Helen, if you're going on one of those, Bill can get stuffed, I'm coming. But you know what I'm saying? Like those beautiful, I mean, they're beautiful. Does she mean the river cruise things? They're not so dangerous. I mean, they kind of go through rivers of Europe, right? Maybe she means that. I brought that up because here is an insight into a situation in real life that wouldn't go like that. Now, if I provided my unabridged, uncensored, fully fledged autistic reaction to something someone said, it would come across arrogant, rude, over the top, brutal, whatever. And then, you know, I would be alienated, rejected, whatever. Okay, so see, it's extremely hurtful in real life, but here's an insight. There's no malice behind Michael's reaction here. He's just thinking, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because as an autistic person, the logic part of our brain is, in effect, I mean, this is not scientific, but basically is bigger, stronger than the emotional part of our brain. I guess what we're saying is we're more logical than emotional. Does that make sense? So that's a logical statement to say, but it's a great insight from an autistic point of view. Earlier on in this video, and certainly in past videos on the episodes, I've talked about how I really don't like when parents or family members just blurt out embarrassing, funny stories about the autistic person's childhood to kind of entertain the mob. And I guess in this instance, it's an example of where I guess there's consent up front. But I have got some feedback. Okay, so here we go. So in the interaction with Heather and her family, Heather's sister, oh, hang on, I put her on the irrelevant bench. Bring her back. She's back. She's not irrelevant. Bring her back. But the boyfriend, he's irrelevant. Put him. She says something like, no, she doesn't say something. Helen. No, that's not true. Put her back. Heather says, do you have any embarrassing stories about me? Heather asks for them, provides consent. Hey, Mum, do you have any embarrassing stories? See, this is what I'm saying. This is an autistic person saying, if you have some, let's hear them. I consent. Okay, so that's a good thing. The mum starts the conversation, starts the story, but then she handballs it to the sister. Sorry, bring her back off the bench, she's not irrelevant. Handballs to the sister because the sister, it's really her story, because the story revolves around the sister playing a trick on Heather. Could it be interpreted by people that neurotypical people are kind of, I guess, making fun or taking advantage of a more innocent autistic person? You know, would a neurotypical person react the same way? Like, oh, yeah, really? My tongue's gone? Like, would an autist, is it more, are they more vulnerable? Are you preying on vulnerable people? Like, I'm not saying that's happening. This is where I want to tell the world, just stop and think for a second, okay? Like, if you have a sibling who is different to you, is autistic, you know they're different, you know they're autistic. We are more vulnerable. We are more, frankly, gullible. We are more naive, innocent, whatever you want to call it. And definitely people within our safe space, whether it's our mum, dad, sister, brother, whoever, they are our safe people and we trust them with our lives. We believe them. So when we start to, I don't know, I guess prank or make fun of autistic people because we can get away with it and we know that it's funny to the greater mob, I feel uncomfortable about that. Again, this is not a judgment call on Helen or Bill or the sibling or the family. This is a broader conversation. We need to start to think about it more than just, they're a different person in our family who kind of provides entertainment. Like we weren't born into existence to be, I guess, a subcategory of humans designed to entertain people, which in my opinion is pretty much what Love on the Spectrum does. It gets autistic people and it broadcasts them to the world as a form of entertainment. It's not a documentary, in my opinion, or an insight show. I guess what I'm saying is, can we all promise from now on to start to think about what we're doing? For example, as a kid, people might have kind of played tricks on me or taunted or agitated or teased in like a funny kind of, jest way because it was funny, but it was at my expense. So I've kind of tried to stop doing what would naturally seem right for me to my kids because I know it's at their expense. Like I've got an autistic son, I've got to stop myself from almost being what was done to me because I can do it. You know what I mean? So that's when we actually have to stop it. So, you know, you've gone from being pre-enlightened to enlightened, and now I hope you can take that forward. And at the end of the meet and greet with Michael and Heather and her parents, Bill, the dad, says, now don't be a stranger. You're welcome to drop in at any time. I'm saying this because I think it's important in relation to episode 5. Bill, Helen, tell Michael he's welcome. Don't be a stranger. Drop in, visit, come over, say hey, interact at any time. You don't need our permission. You don't need Heather's permission. Just drop in, call, say hey, come in anytime. Very important for what happens in episode 5. But we'll get to that in the next video. Okay, so let's move on then, all right? Now, in episode 4, season 2, Love on the Spectrum, Mark, the dinosaur man, I don't think there was a dinosaur in the shot. Anyway, Mark is about to go on another date. As you know, earlier in the episode, he dumped Sienna on speakerphone, which I think is appropriate in front of a camera crew and an international audience. That's textbook. Mark goes on a date in episode 4 with Chloe. Now, Chloe, we know from season 1. The way I would describe Chloe is, frankly, I think she looks like a movie star, like an old school movie star. You know, like a movie star from the golden era, the way they dressed and the way their hair was and the way, their facial expressions and their body language. I don't know, she just has that kind of old movie star look and feel. There's just something about her when you see her, I don't know, it just washes over you in like a positive way. Anyway, so Chloe's back. For those that don't remember, in season 1, this is my memory, I could be wrong, Chloe went on dates with a guy and a girl. I don't remember their names. I think the girl was she named after a flower or something? Lotus, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, and the guy, he was named after a person. So that's just one of those things. So presumably that means that Chloe dates all the genders or multiple genders or whatever you want to say. I would class my impression as one of the most surprising, never would have guessed it, completely left of center matchups. Mark is paired on a date with Chloe. Okay, go figure. But they have a great date. Again, not about spoiling the show, but they have a fantastic, nice, formal dinner. They really hit it off. And there's a couple of things I want to touch on, okay, from an autistic point of view. And if we're crossing the line here of a couple of things with regards to showing too much awkwardness and actually coaching too much. So from an insight point of view, I like to see Mark struggle to do the things that is expected on dates, or to even read the signs and signals and body language and read the things that Chloe's saying. I like to see him struggle with that, not because I like to see him struggle, but because that's an insight into autistic people dating. I'm like that. I mean, I would not be lying if I said in my entire lifetime, I don't think I've ever known a girl was interested in me until she had to tell it to my face. Like, she'd given up on trying to do the signals. I just can't pick it up. It just isn't something I pick up. My baseline is no one likes me. If you tell me, then that's okay, but my baseline is no one likes me. Autistic. So, you know, Chloe's putting out a few feelers and saying a few things, and Mark's like, he's just not picking it up. And it's a great insight. There's no judgment on Mark. It's just a great insight. She could say things about, you know, spending time together. And he's like, yeah, I've never had French food before. You've never had French? You're supposed to say, yeah, it's great to have dinner with you. And the food's good too. I mean, you know, like, okay, maybe I'm like, they do call me the autistic Romeo. And no one's ever called me that. But at what point, though, does it go from being an insight into being just an exploitation? And I don't know that line, but there's a couple, I reckon Mark must get up off the table and, I don't know, go to the toilet or catch a breather multiple times. Now, in one dinner date, unless he drank like 3 liters of water before the date, this shouldn't be happening. He might want to consult someone, I don't know, get his prostate checked, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, okay, so even if he had to, as an autistic person, take breaks, do we need to see them all? It's a dating show. And I get there's insights, but they're not insights if we watch them 5 times and nothing happens. It just goes and comes back. Now, the big one for me, I liken this to a nature show. You know when you watch those nature shows and like, I don't know, David Attenborough or whatever, and you're watching real life interactions in nature. And on these shows, you are watching animals hunt and kill other animals. And you are watching those animals be killed, be eaten, be attacked, whatever. Okay, now there are humans there. And not all the animals pose a risk to humans. There are camera guys, sound guys, producers. There are people in this nature that could step in and scare away the attacker, could end the killing of an animal. But they're not going to do that because they're documenting nature. And stepping in would be stepping into nature, stepping into what was unfolding as it should, like the universe. So in this instance, I put to you that it happens. The producers step in and in effect feed Mark what Chloe seems to be asking for, or Chloe seems to be hoping he'll say. Chloe obviously wants him to open up. Chloe's trying to provide him the in, and he just isn't getting it, and he's overwhelmed and he's anxious. He's autistic. Great insight. But then we reach a point where the producers are stepping in and in effect feeding him what they think Chloe wants or what they think he should do. Finally kind of hits him and he gets it, oh, okay, and he talks it through, and then he goes back and he does it. And again, it's extremely awkward, and I think that's okay. It's a good insight, but we're stepping in here and we're stopping a kill, but it's in nature. Anyone on the planet can talk to a family member, a friend, a psychologist about dating and get tips and tricks, but it never happens mid-date, right? Okay, you might be out in a bar and you talk to some mates and stuff about stuff, but I mean on an actual date, like if you actually go on a proper dinner date, you don't have your friend standing in the hallway near the toilets with a microphone and headphone giving you the tips. I mean, you might, but good on you. But as a rule, right, it doesn't happen. So you can't give me the argument that, like, well, it's nothing like a nature show stepping in to stop a kill, because people get hints and tips all the time. There's a relationship coach on the show, yeah, but not mid-date. When producers step in to coach someone in a neurotypical way, when they're clearly autistic, you're not showing love on the spectrum. See, love on the spectrum is Mark never realizing that Chloe's asking him to open up and share his feelings about her, even though she's saying feelings to him never realizing that, him never understanding that, him never acting on that, and him potentially losing her forever. That's love on the spectrum, because I'm autistic and I've experienced that. In episode 4, we meet Jaden, who is, I was going to say on the autism spectrum because that's what the show is, but really, I mean, he's autistic. We meet another autistic person. I'm getting into the groove here of the on the spectrum show. Anyway, some great stuff, some great questions by the producers, and props to them. They ask Jaden what it means to him, and he actually opens up about how he didn't really accept it at first, and he's come to embrace it, and just provides great insights, again, from an autistic person. That's what it's all about. Autistic people speaking for themselves, providing insights, real, genuine, actual insights as autistic people to help the neurotypical world understand us better. So well done, great start. Now, I guess similar to Michael and his friendship with a neurotypical woman, from my understanding, Bree, there's a friendship with Jaden and a woman named Carly. It's very similar because basically these two autistic men really rely on this, in my opinion, neurotypical woman to help them in the ways of the neurotypical world. And that's why I've said with the conversations Michael's had with, I believe her name's Bree, that I find them really beautiful and I'm really grateful for them because, look, here's a neurotypical person who just accepts a person who's different to them, doesn't question it, doesn't judge it, they just accept it and they just have genuine friendships. It's not normal. Like, to have a friendship with an autistic person won't feel normal at first, but it's so rewarding and a lot of people like it more because you can always expect the truth. Now, Carly and Jaden, they do Olympic weightlifting, but they also have lots of great deep conversations in episode 4 about dating, about women. And Jaden obviously gets to go on dates, not with Carly, but Carly helps him out. There's a great interaction with Jaden and his family at home. Now, again, what I like about this interaction, because I know I've talked about how a lot of the family interactions are so irrelevant and just stupid. It's like, now let's cross live to the neurotypical family to talk about an autistic person. You know, it's not, but this is great because one of the first things that happens is the mum has moved something in the house, like a key rack or something. It doesn't actually matter what she's moved. She's moved something that usually doesn't get moved. And maybe she did that because there was a camera crew there and she had to make space for them, or she wanted it to look nice and she thinks the key rack's ugly. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but it was moved for a reason. Jaden's noticed that And he's like, why has that been moved? You know that you shouldn't move things. This house stays the same. It's my safe sanctuary because the outside world is forever changing. Now, as an autistic person, this is a great insight. One of the big things autistic people can struggle with is routine change, is change of plans, last minute things, people just rocking up at your house. You know, these unexpected things. We rely on predictability, okay, on routine, on things staying the same. So this is a great insight into an autistic person. And this is a great example. See, this is what's good about the show. An actual example by an autistic person talking about something that affects them as an autistic person. And in a way where people can go, oh, okay, really? The key rack has like basically ruined your whole day? You know, why? Oh, because you feel like the world's right. Okay, I get it. Whew. That is my honest autistic opinion on episode 4. Hang in there for my review on the finale. Episode 5, season 2 of Love on the Spectrum coming soon. And don't forget to recap, check out all my reviews on all the past episodes of season 2, Love on the Spectrum. Check out my other videos, share them, like them, comment. And I'd love for you, if you haven't already, to subscribe to my channel. Click that subscribe button and ring the notifications bell so you never miss another video. And until the next video, thank you so much for watching.